Instead of thinking the excuses of, I'm not enough, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the talent, blah, 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 blah. I say to my limiting belief, I say, oh yeah, watch me. Welcome to the Life Coach Baker podcast, the place to be to gain a rock-solid mindset, create powerful habits, and leap into the life of your dreams. I'm your host, life and mindset coach, entrepreneur, and goal-smashing extraordinaire, Nicole Baker. I am here to bring you actionable and applicable tools that you can use in your own life to launch yourself forward, to gain that clarity, and to ignite your motivational fire in order to achieve anything your heart desires. If you have a dream that feels crazy ambitious, if you are an aspiring achiever, or if you know that you are ready to leap into a life that you absolutely love, then you are in the right place. I'm so happy to have you here, and let's dive in. Welcome, welcome, friends. Here we are. I want to take some time at the very top of this episode to just say thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everyone who listens to this podcast, whether you're new, whether you're an OG. I'm so incredibly grateful for you guys. We're about to hit, probably by the time this episode comes out, we're about to hit a huge milestone of downloads. And I cannot thank you guys enough for the support and the reaching out and just how much change you guys have seen from this podcast. I'm so extremely grateful. If you have really if something has really touched you in this podcast, if something has really changed a way that you look at something in your own life, please, 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 the biggest thing that I ask of you is to share this with a friend. There's a reason I talk about a lot of the time really broad topics, but the reason I talk about these broad topics is because these are topics that cover a lot of people. Today we're talking about something that has literally affected every single person on this planet except maybe like a small handful. Every single person on this planet has felt imposter syndrome at some point or another, and the time is now to learn how to freaking stop letting it control you. Because I'm going to give you guys a spoiler alert. It takes a long time to go away, honestly, if ever. But the action that you take from it, that you get to control. And we're going to dive a lot into that today. But I just wanted to say a huge, incredible, from the bottom of my freaking heart, thank you. You guys are allowing me to do something that I've wanted to do for years, and the fact that people listen and the fact that it's changed lives, just I could sob openly into this podcast for an hour, and who would listen to that? So, but just thank you from the bottom of my heart, guys. But first, let's dive into an iTunes review of the episode. Just so you guys know, if you don't have iTunes, that's totally fine. I've had a few people reach out and they're like, I want to do a review, but I don't have iTunes. That's totally fine. If you could then just go ahead and go onto YouTube, pick your favorite episode, and write a little love note in the comments. You will also get a shout out on the podcast. But if you do have iTunes, it is so helpful to help us move up the charts. So go ahead, hop on iTunes, write a little love note in those reviews, and rate the podcast 5 stars if you so inclined. But I hope you do, because that would be really awesome. But you guys, it really helps get the word out to more people, and I just cannot thank you enough for those of you who have already done it. Today's iTunes review of the episode comes from Kittlegal. It says, wonderful and positive. It is so nice to listen to such an uplifting and positive podcast. Things in the world can be so negative lately, and I am loving listening to people who make me feel hope. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Again, if you have not, go ahead and go onto iTunes, write a little love note in the reviews, and hit the podcast 5 stars, because I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. Anyway, okay, let's dive into today's episode topic, which is imposter syndrome. I want you to take a moment at the top of this episode to just recognize, when was the last time you felt imposter syndrome? Was it today? Was it yesterday? Was it in the last month? When was it? Because I'm going to guess it was at least in the last month. Maybe some of you it was the last 2, which in case that's amazing, great for you. Still listen to this episode. You're going to get some really good information on when it does pop up again. But I want you to take note of when the last time you felt it was. Because my guess is a lot of people, it was really recent. Because this is something that everyone deals with. And I want to really start off with saying all of the feelings that you are feeling are valid and they are so normal. Literally everyone feels this way at some point or another. But most everyone listens to the excuses that the imposter syndrome comes up with. And that is where today comes in. So, first and foremost, I want to create a synonym here. Imposter syndrome is a synonym for I'm not enough. That's it. Imposter syndrome is a synonym for I'm not enough. Just like every area of our life that we've conditioned something in, it's a habit. Whether it's a belief system, whether it's brushing our teeth before bed, it's a habit. And we have an entire episode devoted to habits. If you have not listened to it, go ahead. I'm going to give a general breakdown real quick on how habits work. Habits happen from a trigger that makes your brain think, oh, it's time to do something, which leads to the action, you doing it physically, and a reward. You will always get a reward, whether you are doing a negative habit or whether you are doing a positive habit. I'm going to use an example. Let's say you're a smoker. So your trigger is maybe getting stressed out or maybe feeling unable to breathe or maybe that kick of like needing nicotine. Your action is obviously going and taking a smoke. Your reward is getting to take full, deep breaths. Full, deep breaths. It's the reason a lot of people do smoke and continue smoking is because it allows their body to take full, deep breaths and relax. I'm going to give you guys a big spoiler. There's a lot of other ways to do that. Please don't smoke. Please, please, please. It's bad. It's bad for you. I don't think I need to explain why. So that's a negative habit. Let's look at a positive one. We'll use brushing your teeth before bed. So the trigger, maybe getting ready for bed or starting to wind down for the evening. The action, brushing your teeth. The reward, your teeth feel better. You're probably going to fight off gingivitis. You're probably going to have better smelling breath. All of that great stuff is a reward. Now let's do a little more complicated one. I'm not enough. It is a habit, just like anything else we've conditioned into our body. Trigger goes off. Maybe an opportunity comes up. Or maybe you get a drop in from creativity God that says, hey, like, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about writing this script? Have you thought about starting this podcast? Have you thought about filming that YouTube video? And you start to get, oh, that's a good idea. The action, you're not enough. Don't do that. You're not enough. You don't have the smarts. You don't have the time. You don't have the money. You don't have the equipment. You don't have the talent, whatever excuse, quote unquote, your brain comes up with. The reward, you stay safe. Boom. That safety, staying in your comfort zone, is one of the most negatively fulfilling rewards that we have conditioned into our body. So the reward is I get to stay safe. I get to stay certain that I won't get my feelings hurt. I won't get rejected. I won't get some hater on the internet screaming at me. I won't get a rejection letter from my top college. I won't get whatever it is. You get that certainty of staying in your comfort zone. So, just like any trigger, action, reward, the way to change a habit is as such. You will still get the trigger. I hate to break it to you guys. You will still get the trigger, always. So for instance, we'll use the I'm not enough example. My drop in from the universe, I get a idea, I get a creativity judge, if you will. And in between trigger and action is where you break habits. I'm going to say that again. In between trigger and action is where you break habits. So the drop in from the universe happens. That's the trigger. Now remember, the old action was to immediately think, I'm not enough. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the talent, whatever. So your action has to change in between from there to there. Now I'm going to give you guys a little hint. Odds are that if you are someone who really feels imposter syndrome often, You have done it so much that it is literally like going to the gym, picking up 100-pound weight with your pinky and being able to do 25 reps with it. No problem. That is how much you have conditioned that into your body. So picking up a new weight, for example, having a new action like taking action on your idea or immediately being like, oh yeah, I can do this, is like going to the gym and instead of picking up that 100-pound weight, you're picking up a 5. And you have to do 25 reps and it starts to get really hard at the end. But eventually, what happens after you do those reps enough time? You go up a weight and then you go up another one. And then you go up another one and another one and another one and so on and so forth until you're at that 100-pound weight, which means you've conditioned a new habit into your body. Instead of that trigger coming in of the drop in from the universe, I have this idea, I can do this, I can do this. Instead of going to that old action, you will go to the new action of let's take action on this idea. Some examples of a quick and easy language shift that I will phrase to you guys that has been very compelling to me is instead of thinking the excuses of, I'm not enough, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the talent, blah, 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 blah. I say to my limiting belief that says I'm not enough, I say, oh yeah, watch me. I'm going to say that again. Instead of saying to my limiting belief, oh, you're right, I'm not enough, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the blah, 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 blah. I say, oh yeah, limiting belief, watch me. And that makes me take action. Mel Robbins has an amazing framework called the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. I think I've talked about it on the podcast, but this is a great time to talk about it again. You have exactly 5 seconds from when you get that trigger until you go into the old action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have 5 seconds. I'm going to say this again. You have 5 seconds from when you get the trigger to the habit. You have 5 seconds until your brain will automatically go to the previous action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She uses a great example how she was laying in bed and she had this promise to herself of, I'm going to get up early. Now, she had the old habit of hitting the snooze button, turning over, and going back to sleep for another few hours, minutes, whatever. And she instead was laying there and imagined a NASA rocket launching. And you know how they count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? She literally counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in her head. And when she opened her eyes, she was standing up in the middle of her bedroom at 5 a.m. in December in Boston. Cold, right? But she did it because she decided instead of listening to that old habit and listening to that old action and automatically going towards it, she instead decided to move to her prefrontal cortex, which is where all that really focused and really direct action happens. She decided to move her brain to there. And she said, okay, I'm going to get up. And she did. Now I'm really not going to lie to you guys here. When you are living your life constantly in your prefrontal cortex, you can get exhausted and burned out really quickly. So here's my really, really, really strong advice for you here. Do this one habit at a time. Imposter syndrome's a great habit to do this on. Trust me. And to be honest, you might be thinking like, oh, that's going to take a long time. Maybe I should do it with a shorter one. If it's going to take a long time, start now. Imagine how much more you will achieve. Imagine how much more you will live into your higher self and your alignment and your purpose when you stop listening to those excuses and those voices in your head and you instead say, oh yeah, watch me, you take action on it and you do it. What's that going to look like? Pretty freaking awesome is what that's going to look like. I'm going to tell you right here and now. So while this might be a short and sweet episode, this is an episode that I think needed to happen, quite frankly, a long time ago, but needed to happen now because I don't know about you guys, but quarantine is really making a lot of us, and I've talked to numerous friends about this, reevaluate some things. Do I love where I live? Do I love this? Do I love my job? Do I love this direction I'm on? Should I go back to school? Should I try a new thing? Should I start this career? Should I start this podcast? Should I? And our imposter syndrome's going in freaking sane right now because it's like, what is happening? Why are you trying all these new things? I need you to stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. And so I think that this is a really important thing to talk about right now, because if you are getting a strong drop in from the universe and if your brain can't stop thinking about it, and if you get the like gut feeling, if you feel that in like right below your stomach, there's that huge big empty space. We've done this in visualization podcasts before, but there's that huge big empty space back there where we've done the glow exercise and stuff like that. And when you get something directly from the universe, directly from God, directly from creativity, whatever definition you want to put on it, when you get something from there that you need to do, you will get that feeling in that big vast space, almost like a swelling. Marie Forleo has a great framework where if something's coming to you that you need to do, you will feel a literal swell in your body. Versus if something comes to you and you are like, should I do it? And you really don't know if you want to, you'll probably feel a contraction in your body. So this is a cool exercise if you're ever feeling confused on a decision you need to make. Maybe you are in a city and you're like, I don't know if I want to stay here. I kind of don't like it here actually as much as I thought. If you close your eyes and you think about moving away, do you feel a swell or do you feel contracting? That just gives you a little bit of a guidance, and your body will really tell you whether or not it wants something. Our minds do so much freaking overwork over time. They really just need to take a vacation, and our body is screaming to let it take over. It wants so badly to aid and contribute to these decisions and to these things that you're doing every single day. So sometimes just turning your mind off and asking your body a question instead will give you all the clarity you need. I digress, but this is just an interesting topic to have right now, especially, all in all. So just a quick overview, because this was a really short and sweet episode, but I threw a lot in here for you guys. Quick overview. Habits work as trigger, action, reward. I'm not enough. Imposter syndrome, it is a habit, just like anything else in your life. So just like you're going to get that same trigger from anything else that you have a habit in, you're going to get the trigger from imposter syndrome. And then your goal, your task here is to make a other action. And I'm going to tell you, do not choose another action in the moment. Plan ahead always, 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 always. And what I've done with clients actually is really, really cool. We do a little almost recycled sign, except for we do at the top, trigger, at the bottom right-hand corner, action, the bottom left-hand corner, reward. We write them all in. We write down everything that triggers them. Is it a place? Is it a thought? Is it a person? Whatever. It can be so many different things. Is it a sentence? Is it a language pattern? Anyway, then we go to action. What is the precise action that they take? Precise action. Not broad. I want precise action. What's the reward? Is it a reward you're not proud of? That's so normal. Like I said, staying in your comfort zone, that is one of the biggest rewards we've conditioned into our body. So staying in your comfort zone, that's a reward probably we're not too proud of. So then here's what we do next. Looking at the trigger, we write it down again, because the more aware you are of it, the freaking better. You write it down again, and then you do a break off from the recycled symbol. Do a break off and write down new action, and write down clearly. Underline, italicize, highlight the word clearly. Write down a new empowering action, and then you get to write down a new empowering reward. You guys, doing this work Yes, it takes time. This whole process can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. But if it shuts up that imposter syndrome, if it allows you to take more action and alignment and joy and creativity with yourself, if it allows you to do more of that, 20 minutes to an hour is not even a question on whether or not that's worth it. I hope we're in agreement on that. So, with all that said, if you have any questions about this stuff, this is a really juicy, meaty topic. Please feel free to reach out to me at Life Coach Baker on Instagram, and I will answer any questions. Because this is way too freaking important to not dive into. And right now, especially, there's a lot of crap going on in the world right now. And your self-doubt does not need to be an additive to that. So, with all that being said, let's do some segments, shall we? First and foremost, we've got how I got in my own way this week. I got into my own way this week by uttering a word that I have sworn to keep out of my vocabulary. And that word is hopeless. And I'm going to tell you right now, that was a very short and sweet lived state. But I uttered that word, and this is where it's kind of cool. I uttered that word, and immediately it felt foreign in my body. There are 4 or 5 words that I have just completely reconditioned into my body, whether that's cutting them out completely and pretending like they're another language, or completely reshaping the meaning of them. For instance, failure. Failure used to be something that controlled the stinking crap out of me. Now, failure is a word to me that I actually praise. I praise the word failure. I love the word failure because I know how much I learned from each of my quote unquote failings. So I uttered the word hopeless, and immediately I caught myself. I was like, this is wrong. This feels weird. This feels uncomfortable. My whole body reacted. And immediately I was like, nope, absolutely not. We do not subscribe to this. And I did a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 actually. And I changed my state. I was able to get myself out of the environment I was in, and it changed everything. So that was how I got in my own way this week. Small goals worth celebrating. I talked to you guys about at the beginning of the episode, but we hit one of the highest downloaded days ever in the Life Coach Baker podcast history. And I am just like still beaming. You guys, if you saw the chart, it's like, it literally looks like a gigantic peak. And I'm so freaking happy and thrilled and honored that, quite frankly, you guys hop on here and listen to me talk. Like, that is just really, really amazing. And I'm so freaking honored. So thank you. That was a huge goal I've had for a long time. And I know we're just getting started. I keep saying that, but I really do mean it. We are just getting started here. And I can't wait to see where this podcast goes and grows into, and just you all make it so possible and so joyful. So thank you. I appreciate you all. Again, I'm just going to bookend this entire podcast with me pouring my heart and gratitude out to you guys. But I really am grateful. So thank you so much. I will talk to you guys very, very soon. And I love you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Now, please take a moment to either rate the podcast 5 stars, write a little love note in the comments, or share it on social and tag me at Life Coach Baker. I mean, heck, you're an achiever. Why not do all 3? It helps so much to get the word out there. Now go, take the leap, and achieve your dreams. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.